So your thoughts? I see now, I can't wait sort of for the optics of this. I see that Bret Baier is going to interview Trump on Air Force One heading to the Alaska summit, and that they're trying to get an interview with Putin or a Russian representative. How do you think this whole summit's going to play out for those of us who are just consuming it in the media?
Well, it will be must-see TV. I'm going to be watching Brett's interview with the president. There may be an interview with the Russian leader, Russian official. This is high-stakes diplomacy, Mark, but I think that behind the scenes, there's a lowering of expectations that, I mean, as much as Trump would like to get a ceasefire, would like to get some kind of deal struck, the reality is Russia has shown no sign of accommodating any hopes from the United States side. And, you know, I am. You don't hear Trump and folks in the administration lower expectations, but privately they are trying to not get people's hopes up that there's going to be grand diplomacy. There may be a follow-up meeting after this Alaska summit, but the reality on the ground is going to make it difficult for any real movement. I think, even despite the high profile meeting this Friday.
I think you're right about that, because, you know, Trump, of course, has this properly earned mantle as a deal maker, a broker of all kinds of things, able to forge amazing results when things look like they're stacked against him. This may be one of the toughest challenges yet. Last thing on this before we go to the Middle East. What do you think, it's the broadest question ever. What does America want? I guess, what does the Trump base want? Without regard to politics, what will make most Americans happy in terms of what Trump is able to do with regard to crafting some type of end to this 3-year conflict?
Well, look, I think the general American sentiment, the people who don't really play partisan politics, but just want to see, there's an instinct in the American public who don't follow the details of all these crises closely, that, you know, they just don't want to see the war. I mean, the images that you see from Ukraine, that Russia, and the war that Russia started several years ago, has just played an awful toll. And you know, I think there is some concern that, you know, Trump it's kind of like a roller coaster ride following Trump and sort of his positions vis-a-vis Putin. I think one of the low points in our diplomacy was when Trump and Vance browbeated Ukrainian leader Zelensky in the White House. But Trump clearly learned from that lesson, changed his tune, was very tough in the last month and a half when it came to Putin. But ultimately, like, the devil's going to be in the details. And what happens Friday is going to be a test of whether that muscular diplomacy can actually pay off. Russia has not budged an inch. They have not made any notable concessions that I've seen, even with their willingness to come to Alaska and have this conversation. So, I mean, I think a good deal is one where, you know, both sides are going to have to make some concessions. But so far, everything I've seen and seen reported is the concessions that are being talked about are mainly coming from Ukraine and not from Russia.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.